Let's talk about the framework. So 5 stages, as I mentioned. Let's begin with alignment. Alignment is about the alignment of vision, branding, brand values, strategies, roadmap, such that the organization is pulling in the same direction. One of the biggest problems, one of the biggest challenges facing any organization moving to this new world is this. If the leadership, management, and the whole organization basically are not aligned, even if you take something as simple as click and collect, you have 2 teams, you have a web team and you have a store team. If the 2 teams do not have common processes, if the 2 teams have completely different pricing strategy, not necessarily the same price, but pricing strategy or promotions, or they don't share customers' detail, it won't work. Alignment is absolutely the cornerstone, is the beginning of this transformation. And in achieving it, it's about understanding the capabilities of these departments, understanding the KPIs of the individuals working for these departments. So alignment is absolutely cornerstone in terms of beginning this journey. Next, we have agility. So this new world that we are talking about is a data-driven world, is a world whereby the marketing department comes forward much more relationship marketing. Yesterday, there was an example from Burberry. Every time someone tweet or add any commentary on Burberry worldwide, someone actually listening and responding to it. So marketing takes much more of a front office, not just a back office, away from traditional PR and advertising, and a lot more engaging with consumers. Responsive merchandising. Retailers today are able, with technology and with customers opting in, as customers walk into the store, the merchandisers are able to understand the preferences, the size, the colors, the brands that the consumers like, the kind of conversations that merchandisers are able to have now because of new technology, iBeacons, mobile apps, is far more engaging and far more personalized and far more interactive than we could ever have achieved. Agility is, Steve talked about the need to manage your product information, to move from one view of the world to another. And there is a big difference between a buyer's view of the world, which is a very high department, aisles, shelves, to the world, which is much more complex. And then finally, excellence in terms of actually achieving all these kind of business models. Steve, do you want to add to agility?
Yeah, I've got quite a strong opinion on this, which is I think all organisations give up energy when they try to do things and put it, whether it's resources or general effort, everything you try to do in a business around innovating and being agile, it all absorbs energy. And many times in the last few years, I've come across a choice around: do we build stuff ourselves or do we rent this technology? And I've got a very strong opinion, which is I think if you're absorbing the energy of a business, building and testing stuff that you can buy, I just think that's a waste of your energy. Why would you want to do that? Why would you want to create a promotions engine from scratch when someone else has already done the complex work about how those promotions could work together and nest, and what sort of refunds you give at the end of the day when you have to unpick those promotions. So I would rather buy in the tech, and I listen to advisors a lot out in the city, because at one stage hopefully we'll float our business. They say you have to own your tech, and they're going, well, I don't know what that. Do you know what that means? You have to own your tech. What I want to own is the bits that are unique to my business and how I make more money out of my customers, rather than necessarily own how to take an order on the internet, because someone else has built that core functionality for me. So I'd rather have a tech solution that enables me to be agile and to innovate, rather than absorbs the energy of an organization on just doing standard things that isn't a differentiator. And one other thing on that, which hopefully we're going live this week with our new tech, and one of the things we've built in there is an auto description for the product. So you fill in all the attributes for the product, and then it translates all of those attributes into multiple languages and reconstructs the product title of the product in loads of different languages automatically using a set syntax. So by just filling in a few attributes, you're producing a common product title in any territory you then decide to translate those attributes into, as long as you get the syntax right. That's going to enable us to scale in multiple languages at a rate that I wouldn't have been able to if I was throwing loads of people at creating those translations. So clever tech and clever choices around your tech strategy will enable your business to focus on the true differentiator, which is agility and innovation.
Moving to the next dimension, customer centricity, and here we have 5 steps, starting from customer insight, moving to lifestyle, customer experience, personalization, and reward. Obviously, it begins with customer insight, understanding what your customers are buying and what your customers are not buying. You have huge opportunity here to get really intimate, relationship in terms of understanding huge amount of information about your customers. So there are, various ways, various systems out there that provide you with that kind of business intelligence, and then the ability to actually make sense of, take this data and make sense with it and actually engage it is what we're talking about in terms of insight. Lifestyle, we always make a point in terms of moving away from product retailing to lifestyle retailing. Lifestyle retailing means you're not only selling your own products, you don't merchandise your own products only, but also you might have synergy with other merchants, other retailers that have association, with your products. So as far as customers concerned, they see lifestyle, they see a theme rather than just product retailing. Lifestyle also means providing value, value add, rich information. So ability to connect with portals, with external data providers to provide the customers again with much more than just simply coming to the channel to transact. Customer experience is understanding from the first touch point in terms of how your customers engage with you all the way to the end. Retail today is no longer just about transactions. Retail today is a continuous journey. That journey begins with research, when customers are doing the research on you, the brand, the services, the offering, and then they go through the transactions, and after that, they go into the sharing. So if you're not around, during this whole cycle from research all the way to sharing, and you only focus on the transaction, then you're missing an opportunity. So that's customer experience. Personalization is about ensuring you provide that kind of customized offering in terms of how they engage the channel. This is no longer just about e-commerce and about websites. As I mentioned, the examples we have today with technologies such as iBeacons and mobile apps, you can achieve the same level of that you're only able to achieve on websites, say a year, 2 years ago, now with other channels as well. And finally, reward. Customers do have a choice and ability to have a loyalty program, rewarding your customers, engaging communication is what we believe is absolutely necessary. And so hence, these are the 5 steps that sums up, as far as we're concerned, moving towards customer centricity. From a collaboration perspective, these are ways of working. So these are the key 5 areas in our view that are absolutely important to transform the organization into a team culture. I mean, I can share with you, as far as Tesco is concerned, they've went through a whole program, where all the leadership, management, everyone in the organization has gone through these workshops, these courses, so that if you attend 5 meetings at Tesco in 5 completely different departments, the way the meeting would begin, the process, the action, the approach will all be the same, will all be standard. So these ways of working begin with change. Transformation is all about change, moving out of your comfort zone. So some of you might look at this and think, well, that's standard, isn't it? That's just common sense. There's nothing special here. But various retailers, various markets have different levels of maturity. So things that you might take for granted in certain areas, in some other markets are not viewed as such. Especially if you take Asia as an example, Chinese department stores are almost 100% concession-based. If you're 100% concession, this means you don't do marketing, merchandise, supply chain, customer service. You delegate all of these things to the brands, which really means you're not really a retailer, you're more like a landlord. So some of these functions, some of these competencies that you might think, well, this is standard, in some situations, they might not be. So hence the importance of communication to ensure the organization is communicating effectively. Effective meeting, just to give an example, one of our clients in China, when we go to a meeting expecting to see 2 persons in the meeting, we see 20. And the reason they have 20 people in the room, because no one wants to take accountability. So if something goes wrong, if it fails, say, well, it's nothing to do with me, all of us were there. So that's a lack of responsibility, lack of accountability that get manifested by huge number of people attending meetings. So you have 20 people attending meeting for 2 hours, 40 hours, that's a whole week. And when you ask questions such as, where do I actually log this time? They're clueless. So continuing with this problem solving, decision making, is all about moving away from individuals making decisions, hierarchical organizations, into a lot more team building. That's the only way you're going to succeed in this new world. And innovation really is there to support that customer journey, from insight to lifestyle to personalization, customer experience and reward. And we can do this in a number of ways. Mobiles, in-store experience, retail services. So to borrow a line from Steve, we believe that retailers in the next 5 to 10 years will own nothing other than the logos on their websites. Everything else will come from a service provider. So we're moving to a world whereby you have these kind of discrete retail services providing all the kind of services that can be expected to be requested by the various devices. We talk about the Internet of Things. Even something as basic as give me a product description can take completely different format, different method, based on who's actually requesting it. Is it a kiosk? Is it a mobile? Is it a website? Even mobile, is it an iOS? Is it an Android? So the ability to capture retail in retail services away from large, rigid systems is what we're talking about.
Yeah, I think my reflections of this is, having worked in smaller and larger organisations, the larger organisations struggle with a lot of this, and the smaller ones that I've worked in, because it's only 60 people to 100 people to motivate and to coordinate, it just is easier to get some of this stuff embedded in the organisation. And I think the bigger the organisation you are, the more money you're going to have to ring fence, and the more effort you're going to have to put in to drive some of this through, because it's not easy stuff to do, especially when you've got 1,000, 2,000 people in your head office.